Two live crew. Two live crew better than two live pythons.
I don't know. I don't know.
You know.
I don't know.
Come on, do we believe that?
I'm not certain.
Where's that from?
Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, the Falcons switch quarterbacks, baseball ponders pitching, and Jay Billis joins us for 5 good minutes. But we begin today with the finals of the Emirates Cup, which was won by Milwaukee over Oklahoma City last night, 97-81. Adam Silver was at the game and spoke about the proliferation of the three-point shot around the league and the sagging television ratings. Wilbon, your thoughts on the Bucks win and on Silver's comment about, quote, improving stylistically the game on the floor.
I'm going to be brief about the Bucks. You and I thought this yesterday. The Bucks have great incentive. Giannis has great incentive. He's made it known through his play and his comments. This matters. Momentum matters. Doc has made it known. Put a cup in front of us. We're going to try to win it. The Bucks did all that. They held the Thunder down last night, which nobody's done. I'd love to see that again in the spring, but I don't want to get too far in the weeds on that. Adam Silver's comments were the most important. Stylistically, let me give you some credit. Because we talk about this stuff, you and I, on Saturdays and Sundays for the last few years, and increasingly, you have been worried, and you have said this game that you love and have covered forever, it's not appealing to you as much as other people. Let me give you some credit on that. Now, people are catching up with that. I don't hate it as much as you, but I'm going to say this.
Too many three-point shots.
Too many three-point shots. And the question, Tony, for me is with basketball, what do you do about this? What is the disincentive? Or let me ask it another way. How do you incentivize going back to the old way of play? You're going to bring back hand checking? I don't think they're going to do that. You're going to let them put hands on people, and the scores got in the 80s, and the league got out of that and was praised for making it more aesthetically appealing. And then it went too far. I think you and I agree. We think that. And so now Silver has that, and it's tied to lower ratings. And it's not just the lower ratings at the beginning of the season. Stop with that nonsense, phony nonsense. It's over years the ratings are down. And there are a couple of things. Maybe stylistically, younger people like that style more than we do. And, however, younger people don't watch games. Coaches at every level of youth basketball and college, even the pros, 2 generations watch clips. They don't watch games. They don't watch these TV shows necessarily. They watch clips of our shows. So I don't know how the league fixes this, and I'm worried about it.
Okay, so let me go back over these things one by one.
Okay.
Just to say this about the Bucks and Oklahoma City last night. When I looked at that score, I thought to myself, both these teams must have wanted to win this game. Because you don't get 97-81 without defense.
That's right.
You don't get it without
Both
defense.
ways, yeah.
That's the lowest amount of points Oklahoma City, and I know you love them,
I do.
has scored all year. So this game mattered.
Yep.
Does it have a carryover? No, it has none, because we're too early in the season. Let me get to Adam Silver.
Okay.
He's asked about his ears are burning because of the three-point shot, the proliferation of three-point shot. And he says, basically, we're a copycat league. Our champion, Boston, shoots the most threes.
50 plus.
They're on pace to shoot the most of all time. So people are copying them. But when he uses a phrase, and let me get the phrase right here, it doesn't matter. When he uses the phrase of stylistically improving the game, that is an acknowledgement that a lot of people of an older generation say there's too many threes right now, and they're turning away.
They're the ones who watch
about the television ratings. What he is saying about the television ratings is there is a decline in people watching cable television that goes hand in hand in the decline of the NBA ratings, which is why he wants to go to streaming. He loses me at streaming. He keeps you have streaming. I do not have that. But there's also something to be said here when he talks about the fact that he has a very vibrant fan base and he needs to find a way to get them the games. You're saying they don't want the games.
No, they don't.
Want the highlights.
They don't.
Of the game. So
let me tell you what else.
So, Mike, that is problematic.
Yes, Tony, and I don't know how you fix that. I have my son goes to a high school that is ranked number 2 or 3 in the country right now. These kids all play basketball at a really high level. They love it, and they know everything about the league. But you know what they don't do? Their own coach says to me, "You don't watch the games."
I'm going to tell you how you fix it.
Watch the clips.
This is how you fix every sport that's wrong.
Shorten them.
No.
What?
Get Theo Epstein. Theo Epstein understands
sports.
Really
dive into that in a little bit.
Right.
In the meantime, just to break it up, let's move to the Falcons benching your boy Kirk Cousins.
My boy.
Yesterday, Tone, you and I both said this would be the absolute wrong move, unthinkable. But head coach Raheem Morris clearly felt differently, installing rookie Michael Penix Jr. as the starter. beginning Sunday at home against the pitiful New York G-men. Tone, what does it say to you that Morris is choosing Penix over Cousins?
It says clearly to me that he's done with
faith.
Cousins.
No.
That Cousins can't do it anymore.
In
because
5
you don't do
games.
this. You don't, with 3 games left, and you're only 1 game down in your
From Tampa,
division.
that's right.
You don't go to a rookie unless you think your starter cannot do it. We talked about this yesterday, and I sat here and I said this to you. It doesn't look like Cousins is in a normal slump. It looks worse than that. He doesn't look anything like Kirk Cousins. And I said, he sort of to me looks like Matt Ryan at the end. And I said, Mike, what if it's at the end? This is a very desperate move by Raheem Morris. Now, I don't want to insult Penix, because Penix had 48 starts in college over 6 seasons.
Led a team to the national championship
He's
last
24 years old.
Yep.
Okay? But it is also true that he is a rookie, and he hasn't played much this year. Rookie quarterbacks don't understand how fast the defenses
are. You
are.
can't step in and save the day as a rookie unless your name is Marino.
Hurried, you get sacked. Their first games are often their worst games, and he's only got 3. So it's very, very risky to do this. And the only conclusion is they have no faith at all in Kirk Cousins.
And you've paid Kirk Cousins $200 million,
That's
literally
right.
$100 million in guaranteed.
That's right.
So it would cost you like $90 million.
And he's got a no trade.
Whatever 12 games or whatever
Can't
he's
just
played.
get rid of him.
That's right. So I don't understand it at all. But it comes down to this. No matter what you think about Kirk Cousins, you've seen Kirk Cousins over a dozen years be terrific.
Yes.
Be terrific.
Sure.
Even early in the playoffs. Not late. He hadn't gone there. But what you're saying is we're going to count on a guy who hasn't taken a single snap under center in the professional
He's probably
league.
taken a few, but not many. Not 10. He hasn't thrown 10 passes.
We're going to ask him. We're going to the pen to ask him to save our season.
Well,
wow. This will be coach of the year if he wins these 3 games and gets Atlanta to the playoffs.
Here's the good
Raheem
news.
Morris, I'm going to apologize.
Good news for them. Here is their schedule. Home against the Giants. At
Commanders.
Washington in a game that was flexed into next Sunday night.
That'll be exciting.
Home against Carolina. This is a soft way to start, home against the Giants.
Yeah, it is.
So maybe,
as good a way as you can start.
Maybe he'll be really good. But you and I both.
All of a sudden, Atlanta became must-viewing.
Yeah.
The Falcons, which hasn't been the case.
We moved to baseball and a
Here we go.
62-page report on pitching injuries.
Welcome back, Theo.
Baseball concluded that chasing velocity is the #1 contributing factor to pitching injuries and chasing spin rates. Pitchers chase velocity and spin because they're on the mound fewer innings than pitchers of previous generations, and teams want velocity and pay for velocity with lucrative contracts. The report also said fan engagement has suffered because of so many pitching injuries and fewer starters going deep into games. Wilbon, I want you to crow here. What does MLB's pitching study suggest to you?
But is this the basketball story or the baseball story?
Same.
And MLB should just send me a damn check. They didn't need to commission a study. Because I've been screaming this, not just in your ear during baseball games like the World Series, because it makes me crazy, as you know, but on this show for nearly 10 years. Baseball has ruined itself. I don't mean MLB, I mean baseball, from top to bottom. Because what the kids see the adults do is what they copy, what they mimic. And you got everybody trying to throw 100 miles per hour on every throw. I hesitate to call it pitching because they're not pitching. So what baseball has discovered through this stupid study is that nobody's pitching. They're all throwing. And there's so much torque and there's so much attempt at velo that people are ruining their arms at an alarming rate, and it hurts the product. Now, I think there are incentives out of that. I think there's more incentive out of that and easier fixes than basketball and their style of play, which I'm really worried about, as I just told you. Bring Theo Epstein back. He's the smartest man in baseball. He's done this already with the pitch clock and the throws over to first base, limiting the limited pitches, trips to the mound. Theo Epstein will come up with ways. Get him out of whatever the hell he's doing and put him in the commissioner's office.
So baseball has a problem and has had it for years. And the problem is essentially this. Tommy John surgery is ridiculously commonplace.
Yeah, everybody has it.
They hurt their elbows. They hurt their shoulders. They hurt their arms. Baseball pitchers are around for an hour and out for a year. There's not a team in baseball that doesn't have multiple pitchers out for a month or two or the entire
There's like
season.
250 of these surgeries
This
every
is
year.
a plague.
Yes.
I have an email friend, Jim Colonel is his name. He was a baseball pitcher. He sends me pictures of motions of pitchers and says, Tommy John. And he's right an alarming amount of the time. He believes that motion is the most important thing in delivering the ball. And he says that when you search for velocity, that works. It compromises motion and
it
leads
does.
to all these problems. It's a plague, Mike.
Tony, it is a plague, and people have ruined the sport. And now you have to undo this, not just at the major league level.
Oh, minor league level.
Minor
coming
league,
up.
college, high school, youth sports, baseball.
Because you can't outlaw velocity. You cannot outlaw
You can't say
spin.
throw it slower.
You have to have incentivization, if there is such a word, to get pitchers
to stay out
deeper.
there 6 innings.
And maybe you can restrict relievers. Maybe you can say, no, you can't pitch 3 games in a row, even if it's 1 inning, because you're killing your arm. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
These are two
We're trying to solve problems
big
here.
game issues
Baseball
for basketball
has a pitching
and baseball.
problem. Basketball has a 3-point problem. Football has a concussion problem. These are problems. Let's take a break. Coming up, the SEC has 5 of the top 7 ranked teams in college basketball. Is the conference as good as it seems?
And is UConn back on track after losing those 3 straight games for a 3rd straight title?
So normally I can't stand it when you yell and scream, but today I liked it because, you're right.
Because I told everybody so.
Yeah. Let's take a moment to catch up on college basketball with our great friend, ESPN college basketball analyst, the bald and dashing,
very dashing,
Jay Billis. Let's start with this. We're used to the SEC being the top football conference. Right now, it's dominating basketball with 5 of the top 7 teams, including number 1 Tennessee. Wilbot and I remember Kentucky. We don't remember anybody else even having a basketball team. Are these teams as legitimate as they are ranked, Jay?
Yes, and actually the whole conference is not only legit, Tony, it's something I've never seen before. I mean, 15 of the 16 teams in the Southeastern Conference are ranked in the top 60 of the NCAA's net ratings. And that's the primary tool. It's not the only tool that the NCAA selection committee uses when seeding and selecting at the end of the year. And I've never seen a league that's had this strong of a non-conference schedule and done this well against it. I mean, everybody saw what the SEC did in that ACC-SEC challenge where they won the challenge 14-2, and the only 2 teams that lost were arguably their 2 best teams, and Auburn and Kentucky, who lost to at Duke and at Clemson, respectively. But the strength of the league top to bottom is unprecedented. I've never seen anything like it, quite frankly. It's been a juggernaut. And Auburn's probably the best team. Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama, all of them are Final Four good. And you could see something that we haven't seen in a long time, and that's the SEC dominating the NCAA tournament. I would not be surprised at that. With so many teams, somebody's going to lose, but a lot of them are going to win. And it's almost shocking how good the league has been relative to the rest of the country.
Jay, just to follow up real quickly, are we talking just talent here? Are we talking a combination of recruiting and transfer portal that is cyclical, or is there something else at play?
No, there's something else. There is all of those things as far as talent, recruiting. A lot of teams have done really well in the transfer portal, but I think it stems back to a decision and a commitment that the Southeastern Conference made, a decade ago, where they decided, hey, we're going to be better in basketball. And they put resources into it. They were very thoughtful. They hired outside consultants. They improved their scheduling. They made better coaching hires. So it's been a top-to-bottom approach from the league, the top being the league, and then each individual institution. And it's been a progression. It's been a really good league for a long time now. But I think we're seeing nobody has ever done this before. We've never seen this kind of non-conference play from any league top to bottom. And it's frankly remarkable. And there's never been anything quite like this.
Well, let's move the discussion to a league and a team that has had about 40 years of success and used to it, and that would be the Big East formerly, and UConn, which lost 3 in Maui, Jay, and it sort of alarmed some of us. Is there a silver lining here, or are they going to get to be a team that can win 3 in a row?
They will be there at the end. I think they're really good right now. They lost a couple of one-possession games in Maui. They lost to Memphis and then lost to Colorado on a last-second shot, and then got beaten their last game by Dayton. But they're good. They're just not as good and as powerful early as they have been in the last couple of years. Most of the players, if not all of them, have never played the roles they're in right now. So they didn't have really, aside from Alex Caravan, they didn't have any stars coming back at their position. But they've got really good players. And I think Danny Hurley I don't want to say he learned a little bit of a lesson, but I think it refocused him when he was in Maui that he can't expect, his players aren't letting him down by not being what his prior two teams were at this point of the season. They've already been much better. They went to Texas. I did that game. They beat Texas at Texas and looked like you expect UConn to look, at least given their last 2 years of performance. So I think it's going to be a team that's going to be a challenger for a Final Four and maybe even a title at the end. It's just not going to be the same kind of juggernaut that we've seen the last couple of years. It's more of a building process toward that. And I think the last couple of years, it was a refining process through the year.
We will get you out of here on this. We will ask it to be brief. Top recruit A.J. DeBonsa picked BYU. BYU. How good is he, Jay, and what does his decision say to you?
He's the real deal. If he were eligible for this year's draft, he would arguably be the number one pick, and that includes Cooper Flagg of Duke and Ace Bailey at Rutgers and Dylan Harper at Rutgers. DeBansa is the real deal. What it says to me is that NIL is kind of working the way that economists would say it would work, that it's spreading talent around. Now, who knows without NIL what decision he would have made, but it's making more places players in the recruiting game. And DeBansa is a game changer. And BYU is going to be, they're kind of running an NBA type system now with the way they're doing things. And a lot of teams are, general managers, the way they use the portal and the way they recruit. But he's a game changer. He's the real deal.
Thank you, Jay, as always.
Jay, appreciate
it.
Thank you.
Let's take one last break. Still to come, Scottie Scheffler and Rory McIlroy come through for the PGA Tour.
And Michael Vick becomes a head coach.
It's good to see Jay.
It's great to see Jay.
Happy when Jay is on the show.
Well, we got a little break in the action this week. We can get to college basketball sooner than we have recently.
Happy time, people. Happy 24th birthday, Jaden Daniels. Last year's Heisman Trophy winner at LSU. Became the second overall pick in the draft. He has started every game in his rookie season for Washington, boasting a 9-5 record, becoming a candidate for Rookie of the Year. Daniels has 17 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. His completion percentage is 70.5. Wow. That's fourth in the NFL.
Wow.
His QBR is 67.9. That's fifth in the NFL. He's also rushed for 656 yards. Daniels had a couple of rocky games and losses to Pittsburgh and Dallas, but he has instilled great optimism in the fan base and all but erased the painful memories of how many quarterbacks have come and gone in Washington in the last 20 years. Daniels is the embodiment of the Washington turnaround.
And Tony, I want to give the GM of the Commanders, Adam Peters, and the whole management team some credit. Because going into this thing, it wasn't just lip service. They knew they wanted Jaden Daniels.
That's right.
If they picked first.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like, oh, we're getting, our second guy, second choice. They knew they wanted him, and they have made this look really, really good and smart to this point.
Happy anniversary, Stanford football. On this day 18 years ago, Stanford hired Jim Harbaugh as football coach. The school had losing records in 8 of the previous 10 seasons. Harbaugh went 4-8 his first year. After that, he was 25-13, culminating with a 12-1 record in 2010, an Orange Bowl win, and the Woody Hayes Coach of the Year award. Harbaugh went on to the 49ers, where he was 44-19-1, and then to Michigan, where he was 86-25 and won last year's national championship. Now Harbaugh coaches the Chargers and seeks to join Jimmy Johnson, Barry Switzer, and Pete Carroll as coaches to win college titles and the Super Bowl. Stanford has fallen on hard times lately. Under 500 the last 4 seasons, 3-9 this year.
Tony, I hate seeing Stanford like this. And here's the deal. In an era of NIL and transfer portal, Stanford needs to make out. Because very few communities have more money than Stanford, and no place is more attractive than Stanford or greater school. Yeah. To me, it's the best place in the country to go if you can do these things. Stanford should turn this around.
Best combination of academics and athletics in the country. Happy trails to the head coaching opening at Norfolk State. The 1AA school has hired Michael Vick to run the team. Vick grew up across the bridge from Norfolk in Newport News, Virginia. He has never coached, but once told Adam Schefter that his heart is in teaching after playing for coaches like Dan Reeves, Andy Reid, and Mike Tomlin. After spending 8 seasons as an analyst for Fox Sports, Vick now follows the recent examples of Deion Sanders and Eddie George as former NFL stars breaking into coaching through historically black colleges and universities.
Wow.
What a second act for Vick following his prison stint for dogfighting.
Tony, Vic, I've only had a couple of conversations with him since. He seems like an entirely different human being. And from all his experiences and circumstances. People talk about Josh Allen running. Josh Allen's this year's MVP. He ain't no Michael Vick. There's nobody out there, not even Lamar Jackson, who running with the football is Michael Vick. So people, stop saying it. Stop.
Let's go to the big finish if we could. The Browns benched Jameis Winston. The Titans benched Will Levis. Okay by you?
Yes, and it's just both kind of irrelevant. Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy beat your boy Bryson DeChambeau and Brooks Koepka in the showdown. You watched.
I watched for about 40 minutes. It seemed unspeakably cold. DeChambeau was wearing a parka.
Nighttime in the desert.
Parka.
Come on now.
Kevin Durant says he hates the new 4-team All-Star Game format. Wants to go back to East-West. Your thoughts?
Thank you, KD. And that's not far enough, but thank you. The Boca Raton Bowl and the Art of Sport LA Bowl tonight. What the hell is that?
I got Cal in one of them.
Which
I got
one?
James Madison.
Match them up.
The one they're in. The one they're in. That's the one. Last
Match 'em
one.
up.
The Sabres have lost 11 in a row. Are you surprised?
Kinda. They got off to an 11-9-1 start. Lindy Ruff coaching. Yeah.
11 in a row.
You wouldn't think they tank. They knew what happens in the NHL when you lose 11 in a row.
Coaches usually go. We're out of time. We'll try to do better the next time. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
I'm Mike Wilbon, back on ESPN 1 tomorrow, Knuckleheads. You can get the podcast on the app or Apple Podcasts. And now, here's Sports Center.
Sabres don't make the playoffs often.
They disappeared.
They don't.
They haven't been relevant for a long time.
PTI.
What is your reaction to the Falcons benching Kirk Cousins in favor of Michael Penix Jr.?
My reaction is that this is insane. Not just bad judgment, like let's onside kick only down 17 with a whole quarter to go. No. Way crazier than that. Because, I don't know, in my adult lifetime, there are two guys who were rookies. Maybe they were even into their second year. And they were great. That could come to my mind. And it's Ben Roethlisberger and Dan Marino previous to that, which is early 80s for Marino. And other than that, I don't want to go to the pen when I'm one game out of a division title chance and I got the tiebreaker. I'm going to go to a rookie? Yeah. This is insane. But let me just say, if Raheem Morris gets this right, I'll be the first one to sit here Monday and apologize to him.
So we sat here yesterday, and both of us, before this was a known fact, said, no, you can't do it.
Right.
You got to stay with Kirk. He's Kirk Cousins. You got to stay with Kirk Cousins. You can't put a rookie in because rookies don't get how fast the defenses are when they haven't played.
They don't.
They get hurried. They get sacked. Their first few games are their worst few games. So you can't go with 3 games to go. You can't do that. Okay. So he's doing it. The inescapable conclusion, it's inescapable, is that the people on the Atlanta Falcons think that Kirk Cousins is done.
Yep.
Done.
Yep.
Can't help them at all. So let's look at the 3 games that this kid gets. And by the way, he started 48 games in college.
That helps.
He's 24 years old. So he's not
it's more like
hollow
Jay
rookie.
Daniels and Bo Nix.
That's right.
These guys played a lot of games.
Yeah, Bo
in
Nix
college.
started like 60 games or something like that. So he gets home Giants at Washington, which was flexed into Sunday night, and now people are going to want to watch that. And then he gets home Carolina. This is a soft start, 2 of those 3 games.
But he's
home Giants is a soft start. If he doesn't win that, it's a terrible decision. But if he wins that, it looks like the right decision.
You know who is always worth listening to? And if I'm Raheem Morris, I pick up the phone and I call somebody who knows infinitely more about that position and how it works than Raheem Morris. And I know head coaches don't do that in the NFL because they're all going to convince you that they're Vince Lombardi. I call Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman has told us, he has talked a generation of people who are willing to listen through what happens to quarterbacks depending on your context. Listen to Troy. I don't think Troy would do this. I don't think he would. He was a rookie quarterback who wound up wearing a gold jacket.
But his rookie year
was
tough.
Over.
Whoa,
I think
that was
11.
tough.
That's it. We're done. Back to you.